it in reverse. There we go. Yes, I love it when I get it on the first one. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Selena the Bear is my given name. And in today's video, whoops, sorry about that. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing this book that I've been reading a little bit. It's called Theta Healing. Introducing an extraordinary energy healing modality by Vianna Stibal, and you can see the genes right here, the DNA, right? And I read like the first couple of pages of this, chapters. And when it comes to books, like for instance, The Alchemist was a book that really had my attention, that I enjoyed reading, and that by the time I was done reading it, I was like, I don't want it to be done. It's the first time I would have read more if I could. Usually I'm like, oh, finally I'm done, you know? So I go a bit back and forth, and even with the library books that I borrow a lot of books all the time, and then I go in them and I read a little bit here and there, take with me what resonates, leave the rest, and I don't focus on having to read the entirety. I feel like also I get a lot of information from other sources, like I intake information through all my senses. So I went a bit back and forth with this book, and how I actually got it is an interesting story that that beautifully reflects synchronicity and how it has been a guiding friend in my self-educating. So what happened was I got into human design. It's like biology but modern, or with the awareness and knowing and focus more on the energy. And then within human design, a deeper level of it is something that's called Gene Keys. And so I actually bought the Gene Keys book, and I really, really like it. And I had it, and it kind of went into a little bit about, obviously, DNA, because it has gene keys. Now, I don't know, my camera battery is blinking, so I don't know how long this is going to be on. My plan is to read this out loud, though, to inspire myself through sharing to actually read more of it, because I feel like there's some gems in here, especially because I just made a video about DNA and healing the seed, and again, focusing the seed on DNA, and seeing that this has this, I'm like, okay, there's something in here for me. I feel guided to put more of my attention and intention here. So I had the DNA book, and then I had been told about this book for a long time by a friend of mine called Gabriel, and he finally sent me a message like after a year or maybe 2 years of talking about it. Was like because he had borrowed it out to another friend and said he had the book now and he would love to give it to me. And I had the Gene Keys book, and I didn't know much about this. I knew that it was about Theta healing, or that I knew that it was about healing, and that it had something to do with Theta healing, but I didn't know what that was. And so I meet up with him, and I have my DNA or Gene Keys book, and so we exchange them, and I show him that book, and I get this one. And as we're both looking into the books, we're looking at each other like this is basically building on what we're already reading, but it's different versions of it. So we basically exchanged. And I was thinking about asking for it back and giving him this back without having finished reading it. But then I just remembered or thought about the fact that I've been into DNA now recently, especially amino acids, and how amino acids builds, nourishes, and feeds our DNA, basically, our building blocks of our DNA. So I feel like there's more in here that will help me in my whole plant medicine quest. So that's why we're here. If you're here, I appreciate you. I love you. And I'm going to be reading from the 7th chapter real quick. If this is the type of video you like, feel free to share more, or to share if you would like to get more like this. There's a little bit there. Let's see, table of contents there. So again, the camera battery is blinking. I don't know how long it will be. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Let me see you get low. You scared, you scared. Theta healing. Although healings and readings are different, the two aspects will eventually blend together once you are familiar with all the branches of the Theta healing tree. Again, also referencing back to whole plant medicine, focusing on the tree of life. And I love to reflect spirituality through nature, the seed and the sprouting and the tree in itself, the rings within the trunk of the tree. And a trunk, or the stem, equals stamme in Norwegian, which also equals to tribe in English. So yeah, it goes deep. In one of the first instances of instantaneous healing, I witnessed the healing of a horse's broken leg. Incidents like this gave me the encouragement to continue experimenting on different infirmities. I found that Theta healing could be used to heal illnesses such as cancer, as in this testimonial from Sally that demonstrates the grace of the creator of all that is. My name is Sally. In June 2001, I was diagnosed with malignant melanoma arising from a mole on the back of my head. This diagnosis was devastating because melanoma does not have any effective treatment and is usually terminal. After I had surgery, several consultations with doctors and several pathology reviews, lesions were discovered in my brain on the 11th of September 2001. This news was devastating because there is no treatment for a melanoma malignancy that has spread to the brain. Usually the life expectancy is 4 to 6 months and can be as short as 4 weeks. It was after this news that I became acquainted with Vianna. A family friend had heard of her success in helping people with serious medical problems and gave us the information we needed to find her. Vianna was absolutely wonderful from the start. Even with a heavy schedule, she was able to arrange an emergency session with me. During this session, she removed the brain lesions. Subsequent brain MRIs have shown they have gone away. Subsequent brain MRIs have shown they have gone. At a later time, she cleaned my blood, and a special test from the John Wayne Cancer Institute has verified that there are no melanoma cells in my blood. This essentially means that I am now clear of any cancer. The healing, while miraculous, wasn't the only thing that was very impressive about Vianna. She told me on my first visit that I had pins in some old root canals that would give me trouble. 2 months later, a massive infection was discovered that had resulted from the breakdown of the silver pins inserted during a root canal years ago. Also, after I was subjected to whole brain radiation, I lost my sense of taste, which is a common side effect of this treatment. In a session with Vianna, I mentioned this to her and she made adjustments to the radiation effects, and that night I was able to taste again. Vianna has always treated my husband and me with the utmost respect and friendliness. She has made room to see me when her schedule has been completely booked. She is a sincere, compassionate person who takes her healing powers in her stride. She gives the credit to God and declares that she is only the messenger. Her message to me has been one of hope end life. None of the doctors has been able to explain the changes that took place in me, and they are all completely amazed that this terminal disease has simply disappeared. I know the reason, and now the rest of the world can share in my knowledge. Vianna is truly a miracle maker. What do you say? End of excerpt. End of the testimony. This was an excellent example of a person who had no subconscious programs blocking the healing process. Due to her psychological makeup, Sally was ready to accept instant healing, just as I was ready to witness it done. When I was doing the body scan, I was told that she had developed the melanoma from working at a chemical plant. I had to jog her memory from the validation that I was right, but then Sally thought back and told me that some years before she had worked in a chemical plant, wait, what? Okay, let's read all of that again. When I was doing the body scan, I was told that she had developed the melanoma from working at a chemical plant. I had to jog her memory for the validation that I was right, but then Sally thought back and told me that some years before she had worked in a chemical plant. This told me that the cause was environmental due to radiation or chemicals, and I felt certain that she could be healed without reprogramming her beliefs systems. When the healing happened, I witnessed the Creator pull the lesions out of her brain. It was an instantaneous healing, and I could feel her body shift and heal with the Creator's love. This energy flashed back into my space, came out of me, and went back into both of us. I knew that she was instantly healed. Now I will show you the process of healing step by step. And then there's a little like box that says the creator of all that is the healer, and you are just the observer watching it happen. The principles of healing. This basic healing technique can be utilized on children who have hurt themselves and need immediate attention. It is wonderful to use on your family for any given situation. It is wonderful to take away a headache, to remove back pain, and to command all pain to be gone. Squeeze me. This healing technique will change your life. Ooh, child. Verbal consent. The question often arises as to what maladies you can heal without a person's verbal consent. If the person being worked on is unconscious or is in an emergency state, you can ask their higher self for permission to work on them. There are other healing techniques in this book that deal with chromosomal changes, DNA, or subconscious programming. I feel like that's where my focus is. Intuitively, that's where I've been focusing. These techniques require the verbal consent of the person being worked on. This must be respected. However, you can send unconditional love to a person at any time, which brings us to unconditional love. Wow, wait. Hold up, wait a minute. Okay, that is beautiful synchronicity just from this right here, because as I was reading about the verbal consent, I was like, I feel like I've been really focusing again on DNA, on the root or the seed of the matters, subconscious programming, emotional trauma and emotional cells, almost like instead of cells as in the cells that build up our body, more like emotional cells of captivity, kind of like holding yourself back from the emotional. I don't know how to explain it, but And then for the next chapter to be about unconditional love, which is where I've felt a like powerful blossoming in the last, I don't know, couple weeks, where it's just like, yeah, very powerful. My little sister might come in. No. Mhm. In order to make a molecular change in the body, one must have energy. This is a fact that goes all the way down to the smallest particle, the atom. In order for a molecule to form, it must have energy to put together the atoms that make it what it is. Knowing that it is energy that makes changes on a molecular level, there must be energy available to create this or any change. So in order for a cell to change and heal in the body, it must have the energy to do so. And again, naturally for me, the energy comes from not only the environment, like what the air that we're breathing, the information that we're taking in, like where are we putting our attention, you know, our minds and our emotions, what are we watching, who are we keeping around us, and what are we keeping around us. Like right now I got some electronics going on, and it's also another fascinating thing. I used to have the computer with me in bed all the time, and now, I don't know since when, but it's been since I rearranged the room. My computer has been here on this desk, and it feels really good. I'm not missing it from my bed. It's very, yeah. That's what I feel like when I have been focusing on my emotional state and like really looking at my emotional state of being and where I've been and where I see myself going. It's like it has trickled into other aspects of my life that are not as deep, but because I've been going so deep, it's again like the seed making changes that are visible in the entirety of the plant in different aspects, like the branches and the fruit and the, you know what I mean? The body has two ways of forming this energy, heat and enzymes. Interesting. The gynecologist also mentioned enzymes, like that I hadn't been developing because of the enzymes hadn't been released or something like that. And I also have gathered information that enzymes also are built from amino acids. I don't know if it's only that, but I know that amino acids had something to do with that as well. So there's a lot of connections that are yet to be made and that have already been made. Any change in the body is created by heat and enzymes, unless the change is made through the creator of all that is. When you go up to the creator of all that is for a healing, you reach up and grab the energy of unconditional love and put it in the body. Ooh, embodimenting. Okay. This enables the body to have the energy it needs to make changes. Just commanding the body to heal on its own forces is to use its own mechanics for the energy, and these resources are generally not enough. For instance, if you command a bone to heal without extra energy, it will strip calcium from the surrounding resources of the body to comply with the command. You may ask, how much of this energy do I use? It only takes one atom of unconditional love to make any change in the body. For instance, when you make the command, creator of all that is, a change is commanded in this body. You will automatically see energy coming into the body to make the change. In the beginners classes, we teach people a step-by-step process to visualize going up and gathering the love. But as the brain gets used to what it is supposed to be visualizing, the process will happen automatically. In the end, it is your ability to witness what that brings the healing into the now. Powerful. The creator does the healing, you witness it. There is a law in physics that says nothing exists unless it is witnessed. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading until the camera dies or until the battery is empty. Blocking beliefs. Many people are ready for instantaneous healing on their body. If the body does not receive instantaneous healing when given the command, there is a subconscious program blocking it. This program must be found and changed. As long as healers keep themselves from becoming discouraged, the Creator will assist them to find that feeling, emotion, or belief by using the Creator's wisdom or the wisdom of the person. The mind, body, and spirit of a person have a memory like a computer, and if you know the right questions to ask, these aspects of the person will tell you what needs to be released and replaced, or what feeling is missing. It is possible, however, that the healer will misinterpret these messages and become discouraged, or perhaps the feeling of discouragement is not the healer's but is projected from the person being healed. Perhaps that person does not know how